Howdy ho, truck lovers and truth seekers. Welcome to another wonderful edition of Frontlines. Tonight, another enlightening discussion on what's going to challenge you in the way you think about the industry's future. We're diving into a real issue that's been plaguing trucking for years, the high turnover rate. It continues to shake up the industry. And the more you look at it, the more it never goes away. So what's really driving this issue? Some call an exodus. I call solvable. Could the situation be fixed? Or are we heading toward a future where the U.S. gets replaced by foreigners who don't understand our way of life? Furthermore, we're also going to dive into another issue that I think might help us in this, and that's your stability. We're going to examine what's really behind the numbers in trucking, such as an issue that touches all of us, and that's how you relate to the people you do business with every day. We're going to break down issues on this high turnover rate, and we're also going to talk about some other issues that are real close to home, all designed to do one thing, and that is help to make trucking great again. All done one day at a time. We're going to start off tonight a little differently. Of course, every one of these shows starts off a little differently, but we are going to do things the way it should be. We're going to first talk about how you relate to your shippers. How do you build a good relationship with your shippers? Me, I think it starts with a simple 4-letter acronym. So let's see what that means.
How we begin.
From Truckin City Central Command, you are on the front lines. Truckin News.
The semi-truck driver accused of causing that deadly crash on Highway 285 this week now under arrest.
Cutting edge opinion.
And we will make trucking great again.
Built for truckers.
You should be hauling that freight based on what works for you.
By truckers.
Remember, get them done.
Featuring.
I think trucking is a very good career.
And I am gonna beat them.
I'm gonna beat him too.
We don't do it just for us and our families. We do it for you guys.
Remember, truckers are people too.
Hosted by the El Rushbo of Truckin News, Boss Man.
860-785-3547. We are back behind the golden TIB microphone once again, having more fun than any news show is allowed to have. Boss Man here, President and CEO of the United States of Truckin', created with the purpose of unifying the industry by single-handedly pointing out we can make trucking great again. Doing so with a skill given to me by God himself to creatively write opinions that make you think and get you on the front lines doing what I do, and that's talking about what's important. But news, opinion, and we give every one of you a place to sound off right here on this platform made by truckers for truckers. Tonight, it's all about you guys. You call in with your opinions, your thoughts, and anything that you think will help make trucking great again. Just call 860-785-3547. If you have an idea on a story you'd like featured, by all means, go ahead and send it to That's Truckin News at Outlook.com. That's Truckin News at Outlook.com. I do this show every week, not by myself, but with an extraordinary group of panelists that have comprised well over right now, probably well over 200 years. Somebody still needs to kick me in the butt to get this slide updated. But there is a wide variety of experience on this panel that joins me every Wednesday and every Saturday to do just what I say, and that's make trucking great again. We share thoughts, ideas, opinions, and inspiration one day at a time. So first one I want to bring up is my co-host, Driving with John. If he's visible on this panel, right there we are. So let me highlight this, and if my computer will cooperate, there he is, the good man himself. Tell our audience about yourself and what's on your mind tonight.
Hi, boss man. Hi, everybody out there. I'm driving with John on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. Run a very small channel, basically about having some fun on YouTube. So, check me out sometime. What's on my mind? There are a lot of different 4-letter acronyms that I use right now, but I'll save those for the show.
There you go. There you go. All righty. And we also have with us Larry the Trucker. God bless you. Introduce yourself.
I'm Larry the Trucker. I'm the weird one. Now, I have on YouTube and TikTok and Facebook, Larry the Trucker. I read stories to you. So check it out.
Good stories, too, from what I hear. All righty. And the next one we're going to introduce can do so all by himself. He is the one and only.
I'm the Grumpy Old Trucker. Facebook, Grumpy Old Trucker. And I also have a group, the Grumpy Old Truckers. And I'm on YouTube. I'm on TikTok, Clapper, Instagram. I'm there. Find me. Glad to be here, boss man.
Glad to have you every week, as always. And we have with us a duo of sorts. How you guys tonight?
Oh, we're not too bad. Thumper here, and I got both sitting in my lap. Got TikTok and YouTube, working on my YouTube page. Small business owner of trucks, and we haul cattle and grain, and try to spread our experience in that world, and then also try to make everybody aware of trucker mental health.
There you go. There you go. If that's what's important to you, it's important to me, and I'm sure the audience will definitely chime in on that too. And it's that reefer guy here once again, giving us a lovely view of trucking. Tell us about yourself.
Good evening. I'm Fate Truckin. I'm an owner-operator, and I haul reefer freight around the country.
God bless you. You got social media. I'm not going to let you get off that easy, my friend. How can they find you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Nah.
You can find me right here.
There
on
you
the
go. There
trucking
you go.
front lines.
On the front lines. God bless you. That sounds good to me. I'm going to tell you something, guys. One of the things that's real important to me is giving you guys news, opinions, and information that helps make trucking great again. And one of the ways in which I'm going to start doing it is I'm going to have a segment we're going to start calling the Roundtable. And I invite you in the audience to become part of that roundtable. That is what we're going to do tonight. And we're going to talk about shippers. Everybody in the industry says a lot of negative about brokers. Okay, let's step back and take a look at the industry as a whole. I got one more person I want to introduce. And as soon as I introduce, we're going to jump right into talking about how to build a better relationship with shippers. So go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what's important to you.
I'm midlife trucker Tom Bell. I became a truck driver in 2019. I've got YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, but I don't do much over there. I do a lot of drone footage. I show all my pay statements and have since I got into the industry in 2019. I believe I'm a little different than most people. I'm not trying to lift the whole industry up. I'm trying to lift individually up. I'm trying to help you make better decisions about the carriers you go to. I use a
Right.
check system: culture, home time, equipment, compensation, and knowledge. And I think if you're here at this channel and you're watching, boss man, you must be wanting to learn how to get it a little bit better.
And we're going to start tonight off right on that very vein. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm interested in how to make good first impressions with shippers. That FICA, FICA, that you see in the lower right is my acronym for first impressions count always. And a lot of people in trucking today seem to forget that first impressions really do make a big difference. How do you think that would relate if you're talking about trying to win over a shipper for repeat business? What would you think
Well,
on that?
you just put on your Crocs and socks and got those shorts that go down to your knees and maybe a t-shirt that's a little ratty, and walk in there vaping and smoking in their office and tell them, hey, this is the load, take it or leave it.
There you go.
Look around the truck stops.
Yep.
Look around at the people you see at the shippers and receivers.
Mhm.
Would you want to deal with them?
That makes a big difference. Yeah, a lot of people see. I bring it up because I think that really escapes a lot of people. I mean, when you're trying to build a business, first impressions go a long way. And a lot of people don't seem to think about it. They sit back and they blame everyone else for their shortcomings when they don't realize, well, the first time they walked into that office, to use your example, with the Crocs, with the, the low cut t-shirt that looks unprofessional, that shipper's looking at him like, where did they find this guy?
White beaters, man, white beaters.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to go there, but okay. I mean, I don't know if everyone on this panel, I'll bring everybody up eventually, has that same experience, or if it's, like me, I'm a driver. I don't really deal firsthand with shippers, but I know when I worked with Landstar, it really amazed me. A lot of times I would hear some horrific stories that some of these shippers were telling me about my very own company drivers coming in looking horrific. Now, I'm not saying bad things about drivers in general or the company I used to work for, but I mean, come on, first impressions. Are we forgetting this? I mean, either you two, Thumper, Fate, you guys got anything to add to that? I mean, it's incredible what these people are doing in this day and age. It just really amazes me.
I mean, it's important, your first impression. It really is important. My line of work, as far as the cattle side, it's a little different because we're dealing with messy animals.
Right.
So we're constantly covered in cow poop and pee and everything else. But, for the most part, if I have to go meet with one of the higher ups or whatever, I'll shave, I'll put some nice clothes on and try to keep a good first impression every time I have to meet with them. But like people at the sale barn, they're used to seeing us truck drivers covered like this. I mean, half the time we look like we're homeless in the cattle world, but
that really doesn't get anybody far.
Yeah, I mean, you get that. That's just kind of how it is in that line of work. And on the grain side, don't really deal with anybody except for at the elevator. So
yeah.
Well, I mean, when it comes down to it, hang on. I see people backstage waving. I'm going around the table. That's what this is round table. So be patient. I mean, when it comes down to it, I mean, we got, the right way and then there's the wrong way. When it comes down to negotiating contracts, brokers do play a part, but you also, whether you're a carrier or an individual driver, you play a part too. Fate, what do you think?
Well, first impressions are everything in what I do and how I operate my business. Second is do what you say you're going to do. I see and hear stories of, carriers not being able to agreeing to do something and then not doing it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
when you are dealing with direct shippers, customers, even brokers, that operate 3PL companies. Those can be direct shipments. You have to have a backup plan. You know what I mean? You can't always give loads back. You can't. You have to follow through with what you say you're gonna do. You know, and I happen to believe in wearing jeans. I don't care if you're in a t-shirt, but put on a pair of tennis shoes or put on a pair of work boots or something. Do not walk into these places basically barefoot. You see signs up all over the place. Cole, you know, they don't want that in their office. You know what I mean? And here's another thing to be aware of. Even if this is a brokered load, let's say you get a load from C.H. Robinson and you're picking up at an Americold. If you give a bad impression to the lady or man behind the counter, they communicate with the broker. They can say, we never want this guy here again.
Yep. That will make a big, big difference, certainly. All right. I'm going to go through some comments and, again, trying to go around the table, so just bear with me. Richard Phillips, he's a new face in town, so glad you could join the show. Ready for the next great adventure? Well, stand by because it gets deep from here, let me tell you guys. Foreign drivers have already invaded the industry. We need to run them out. Don't know who you are, but you know what? If they're a foreign driver and if they're in here legally, God bless them. They do have every right to work. My story later on is going to cover something totally different, so definitely want to stand by. You'll want to know about this. Griff USMC, keep it simple, stupid. Good philosophy. I like that. Welcome to the show tonight, my friends. Christine, also in the audience. Let me see another new face. Rusterman. Hi guys, potential future trucker. Definitely want to tune in. Keep watching our panel here, and everybody on the panel here is a great place to go if you're looking for need to know information. So definitely keep tuned. We will certainly throughout the show share our YouTube links or any other necessary links to keep you guys well informed. 7Cs, good evening. Expect big things. Your word delivering. God bless you. Thank you. No screaming. I think we've gotten him kind of past that one. Let me see. Get it right. I'm just scanning comments, guys. Bear with me a second. Larry, what's your thought in terms of communication? What do you think? Do you think communication or having effective communication, as Fate was talking about, if you say something, do it. Just clearly spelling out, hey, what you're willing to do. I think that goes a long way to not only a good impression with brokers, but also says a lot to shippers if you're trying to win them over. What do you think?
Well, I agree with Fate on that. I don't deal directly with brokers like Fate does, but I do deal with shippers every day. So it makes a big difference if you treat them with respect and they'll treat you back with respect, because remember, they can make you have a bad day if you make them have a bad day.
Very true.
So,
very true indeed.
Be nice, be courteous.
Yep.
Don't be rude.
That's what it's all about. That's it. What's the number to call in? Let me give you that real quick. In fact, I'll flip it here on the bottom of the screen. Studio line is 860-785-3547. 860-785-3547. If you so feel inclined, please give us a call here. Give us your contributions, your thoughts, and we will certainly let others hear you as well. Grumpy, I mean, when it comes down to shippers, I don't know, you have a unique position that really doesn't lend itself to needing to communicate or really make a first impression with shippers, but I'm sure you can relate to the whole idea of communicating effectively, because you yourself have run into issues with people in your company not communicating, and that's run you into a problem. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, it happens to me quite often. I get to a shipper and either I don't have the correct numbers and it's a headache and I have to call the company, get them to talk to the brokers, get the right numbers. And then there's times like here just earlier this week. I mean, I sent a shipper overnight like I was a reefer driver or something, just to get loaded because they had new systems, with their computers. So yeah, it's a headache, but I had to bear with it, be nice and just go with it. You can't just go in there rudely and say, why am I sitting? Because then people are going to freak out and be like, yeah, you can sit for a lot longer.
Right. There you go. Yep. That will make every bit the difference. Flexibility, poet. I'm sure you got a lot to say about flexibility up in your neck of the woods, especially. That happens to be one of the items on how you win shippers over. Adapting to changes thrown at you last minute, schedules, routes. I'm sure you guys experience a great deal of that where you're from. Want to talk a little bit about that?
You betcha.
Mhm.
The one thing that I have always, in my last 54 plus years, I keep telling shippers, I keep telling my own dispatch, it's better for me to wait on a shipper or receiver than
Right.
for them to wait on me.
Exactly.
And
You
that's
give the
where
edge to the shipper, and that gives you an edge in business. So it makes perfect sense.
exactly. So,
Yep.
you learn to deal with all the other BS that goes along with it. But the guy that
Hold on a minute,
loads
caller.
your
Hold on a
trailer,
minute, caller.
yep,
Hold on a minute, caller.
yep.
Be right back with you, caller. All right, we have a caller on the line, so I want to bring them up and let these guys be heard. They're calling on the studio lines. I've got one on the line right now and one on hold. So let's have at it. Caller, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, this is Humberto. Yes.
Humberto, we appreciate you calling in, sir.
Thank you for what you guys do. I've been watching the show for a bit, and I don't ever get a live. So calling in today, but I wanted to see if I could go. I wanted to ask you guys a question that's going on with me.
All right. Well, if you can summarize that question really quickly in less than 60 seconds, I'd like to entertain that. But I do have another caller on hold as well. So let's have your question,
Yes, I
sir.
understand. Going back to a truck that's been sitting, right? And I become company driver. So my question is like, should I fix up that truck or should I sell it or try? What kind of advice can I get from you guys?
How old is the truck?
It's a 2011.
A 2011. Okay. What's your reason for selling? Is it a lack of revenue or is it a maintenance issue?
Maintenance issue, a little bit of both. Because I've done the oil field in South Texas.
Okay.
And then I've done my time. I've been a CDL holder since 2010.
Okay.
But I always done the oil field. Then I got into over the road, and that's what I'm doing right now.
Okay.
I like it, but I got something with this truck. I want to try to fix it, but I did the wrong thing.
Right.
Like you guys mentioned on the videos. Lack of income. I wasn't spending my money wrong, but I was spending it. I had a lot of maintenance issues.
Right. I will tell you briefly, one person that did not introduce themselves with everybody on the panel was myself. So here's my intro. I'm a 13-year veteran of the trucking industry. My first foray into trucking was similar to what you're talking about, Humberto, in that I decided to buy a truck and get into the business. And I did something similar. I went with Landstar. I leased out a truck. I had paid it off. Everything was fine. And my mistake was I did not prepare ahead of time. And I've admitted to all these panelists here, we've had some very healthy conversations. I basically just went into it and had to learn. So it sounds like you're in a similar boat. A 2011 truck, I can assume there's probably greater than 1 million miles on it, right?
Yeah, about so.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, if you sell it, you're really not going to get a whole lot for it. But if it's not making you money, why keep it? I mean, I get where you're coming from. So would any of you guys like to opine additionally and maybe give him some good advice? Go ahead, Fate.
All right. Thanks for calling in, for one. For two, I'm about to make a statement that I really do believe in. If the truck that you have is has like an after treatment system, it's not a Series 60, it's not a Cat, it's not a N14. These are throwaway trucks. I mean, put a dollar amount on how much you're willing to spend, and if you exceed that amount, get rid of the truck. You will save yourself tens of thousands of dollars from breakdowns, missed revenue because your truck's in the shop, and a lot less stress. You know, it's you know, and I know everybody's in different financial scenarios and different places, but coming from somebody that kept a truck and dumped $50,000 into it in 1 year, I wish I would have just not been emotionally attached to that truck and gotten rid of it a lot sooner.
Right.
That's kind of exactly what I would have said. Don't be emotionally attached to your equipment. It's a tool to make money.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that you ran it in the oil rigs is quite impressive. You know, that's one area I've never been around, and a couple of my panelists can speak to having prior experience to that. But I mean, that being said, you know, Fate speaks good language, and honestly, I wish I'd had the very advice that he just gave you when I started with Landstar. So I mean, that was my first thing. But hey, we all have to learn. And that's really the best way to do it, is to dive in, make the mistakes, and, you know, go from there. So, Umberto, I hope we made some sense to you. I hope that we have earned a subscription out of you. Certainly go down below and hit the subscribe button. Fate, go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Go ahead.
Let me say one more thing to him, and I'm not ripping on you, boss man. You're not making a mistake by holding on to it. Like, just understand.
Oh yeah, I see
business.
what you're saying. Yeah, don't misunderstand what I said. Yeah, I see what you're saying. No, you're not making a mistake. If you decide to hold that truck and follow Fate's advice, you're not making a mistake. You have to learn and make the decision based on what he said, which is best for you.
Right.
But the point I was trying to make, and I kind of said it wrong, was the mistake I made going in was not going in with the right mindset. That's the mistake I made.
Right, and that's what I did. You know, I think that's what none of us do.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have everything set up.
Right.
And the thing is, now that I like over the road.
Yeah.
And I want to make the transition to flatbed.
Okay.
But I got this truck.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I should do a transition or just fix it and get back to the oil field.
I see.
That's, you know, those are my personal things, my personal, you know, views, right?
Yeah, those are decisions really only you can make, and you know, I really, you know, I wish you the best, and by all means, caller, please keep in touch with our show. We're on every Wednesday night and every Saturday night at 7:00. You can stay in touch with the comments, email our show, or you may go ahead right now and do like you're doing right now and give us a call. But certainly stay in touch. I'd like to hear more from you.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling in. We're gonna get to the next caller. All right, you take care now. Godspeed and keep her rolling.
Yep.
We get to the next caller, which is somebody we're all familiar with. How you doing, Griff? Griff, you there on the line?
There goes the show. There goes the show.
Griff, if you're on the line, come on back, my friend. We're gonna let you go here in a minute. I'll keep him on the line in case he comes back. These things with shippers, I mean, or let's finish up about Umberto. I mean, anything floating around there you guys want to offer too?
Well, I mean, and to me it sounds like. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, John.
No.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say to To me, it sounds like he's battling because he made money with the truck and he's not sure where to go next. Well, that's what it's a tool to make money. So if he wants to go over the road and it's suited for oil field work, he shouldn't take that on over the road. He should go get something that has great MPG because that over the road, that's what you need.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense to get a truck that fits the utility of the job you're looking to do, because if you don't, then you're hurting yourself, you know, so that makes perfect sense. So Griff, are you with us, buddy? All right, well, looks like we got a deadline. So Griff, if you're in the audience and you want to call me back, I would certainly love to entertain the call. Love it when you call. Fate, he gets a little hot under the collar when you do so. Come on. Make our day, my friend. Anyway, we were talking. There we go. I must have said the right thing. What up, Griff? Sorry about that. I think we lost the connection with the first caller. I do have call waiting on this thing, but it's kind of a fickle pickle, you know?
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of glad I was kind of listening to stuff when Berto called in. Well, Fate knows I got a 1,000,000-mile plus truck stuff and everything, and as I told him before, on some calls I've done with him a little bit here in the past, kind of wish I'd gone into the business with some money saved up and everything, but I'm getting 8 miles to the gallon. I got 1,000,000 miles on it, stuff, and if Humberto owns the truck already and he's been in the oil field, he might still be able to get away with running over either kind of regional or whatever, but eventually he can upgrade it, stuff for better gear ratio or hook up the motor, horsepower, whatever's got going on with it or whatever.
Right.
There's a lot of options he could do with it. That's what I'm trying to do with mine stuff. But yeah, I would like to get another truck, but I also do like my truck stuff. I've been in it. I know what's going on with it.
Yep.
I know the ups and downs with it. I know her quirks.
Well,
so that's what I'm
got a couple of comments on the screen there, Griff. If you're interested, take a look. 7C says he's got an N14 13 with 370,000 miles. Anybody needs it. He's also got a 97 Model 2.
97.
So 97. Yeah.
I got another 0737 I've been using as a parks truck with 13 in and stuff, and all I got to do is redo the motor in it a little bit and put another third member in it. I can get it back up and going, but I just trying to get by with what I got until I get everything paid off and I can make my next step and everything. But
right, yeah.
And and with the discussion a little bit earlier about shippers and stuff, if you show up, you need to go in and be presentable and stuff, and not show up with flip flops or whatever, especially in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
And negative 10-degree weather.
Yeah, a lot of people just don't put enough pride in their job. So I figured the extra mile to travel in this conversation would probably far pay better dividends than me just flapping my gums about a story. So that's why I decided to talk about this tonight. So, but, you know, I appreciate your perspective too. I mean, that's, you know, every single person on the panel and every single person in the audience has a unique perspective. And I certainly value every single one of them. So does
biting their lip on trying to want to say something.
Yeah. Oh, Fate sporting the Driving with John hat over here. That's good deal. Good deal.
Well, you should let John know that the only reason why he's wearing it is cover up the bald spot. So that's
Boss man,
I like this guy more every time.
Right now. Hang up the phone right now.
True brotherly love going on here, isn't there? All right, Griff, we appreciate you calling in.
I say we keep him on for the whole show, just so he can harass Fate.
He certainly raises the bar every time he calls, doesn't he?
Sure.
I think it's the only
times I'm playing on the panel with you guys on one of these shows stuff if I'm stopped. Right now I'm finishing up at 34 before I head out going to Indiana. So
I feel you, brother. I feel you. Well, one thing's for sure, every time you call in, I notice something. Every time you call in, I get a few more watchers because I see the numbers in the upper left tick up, and at the very same time, I see Fate squirming in his seat. I don't know what it is, but you got to keep calling me. You really do. Take care, Griff.
I really respect Fate. I respect all you guys. Thank you for the advice and everything, stuff, and I'll try to keep in contact with you guys.
God bless you. Keep it rolling, my friend. You stay safe out there.
All right, you too. Thank you.
All right, take care. I love calls like that. That's great. I mean, especially when they're repeat callers. And I don't mind. If you guys are in the audience and you want to get some firsthand advice, just like Humberto did, we have a wide panel here with 200 plus years experience. Give us a call. If we don't know the answer, we will certainly give it to you. That's, we will give you somebody that will. What are you pointing at, Faye?
Larry wants to talk.
Well, all you got to do is pipe up, Mo. Unmute yourself and say something.
I wanted to say something to the shipper thing. Sometimes it's not, it helps with if you look presentable, but it also helps if your truck looks presentable as well. If you're going into a shipper with a dirty truck, then...
Yeah, that goes without saying.
I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else before John? Go ahead. Got your hand up.
Yeah, sorry about that. I never really commented on the whole shipper thing. Honestly, guys, when you're out there dealing with these people, they get grumpy. No offense, grumpy. They get grumpy and ornery and mean.
Thanks.
Truckers all day.
Uh-oh.
All right. We're kind of dropping in and out of signal.
Okay, well,
Go
before
ahead, Poet. I'm going to give Poet a second, and then I'll come to you, Thumper. Go ahead, Poet.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, John. Yes, I can. Just take a second, John. Straighten your signal out. I'll be back with you in a minute. Poet, unmute yourself and tell us what you want to say.
Okay. So we all have smartphones.
Every one of them.
Okay, we all know how to look up the shipper's requirements for what needs to be worn. If it's flip-flops, have at her. Go at it barefoot for a care. But if it's steel-toed, wear steel toes. If it's the stripes, wear the stripes. If it's the hard hat, why not? Be on time. Actually, be an hour before time. Okay? The guy that loads your trailer is essentially the one that pays you at the end of the week. Your company, not your company. It's not your company that pays you at the end of the week. It is the shipper or the receiver that sends their money to your company. So who's really paying your paycheck?
Okay, well, what I'm saying in a sense, I agree partially with what you're saying, but money flows uphill, okay? And money flows hardest when there's resistance, okay? So to your argument, there's validity behind it, and it makes sense. Common sense says that. But my thing about first impressions and my thing about effective communication is clearly trying to eliminate that resistance. When you're trying to build a business, it goes without saying that the best impression you give, whether it's brokers you work with, shippers you deal with, or customers on either end, if you're in it and you make it look like it's just a job, that impression is going to shine through, and you're less likely to get that return business with that kind of mental attitude. I mean, Larry makes a good point about the impression with the truck. Fate said earlier about, your first impressions about what you wear and how you conduct yourself. Grumpy even mentioned it. Thumper, you got anything that you want to add to this before move on to my opinion?
Oh yeah, I got a couple things to add. Kill them with kindness. Like seriously, if you could be as nice as you could be to them, they're gonna give you respect. I mean, that's just simple as that. You come in there with a bad attitude, like Kate said, they're gonna tell you. They're gonna talk to the broker and tell you get out and never come back.
Sure.
And as far as the truck thing that we want, Humberto, what's his name? Yeah,
Humberto. Yeah.
Humberto. He has an oil field truck and he's trying to turn it over the road truck. Been down that road. All my trucks were oil field. It's a lot of money to convert them to be on the road. It sucks, but it can be done. And if that's a road you're going to take, I'm warning you right now, expect a lot of breakdowns.
Right.
I mean, I battled that for like 3 years before all the trucks were fine and dandy, kind of at the point where I was about ready to throw my hands up and just buy all new trucks. Because oil field stuff is really hard on the truck. You're always bouncing on the gravel roads. And,
it is very hard.
And then Fate had commented on the 7C's email. I don't know if they saw that or not.
Yeah, I typically don't involve myself in that kind of conversation, but I'm sure they'll get
each other. I didn't know if 7C's was on your YouTube or not, so I didn't know if he saw it or not. So that's why I brought it up.
Yeah. I'll make mention of it. I mean, because I think 7C's and Fate they pretty much talk, so I'm sure they're familiar with each other.
But I mean, if a truck is gonna nickel and dime you, it's time to let that be somebody else's problem. I mean, that's just kind of how it is in today's day and age. And go buy yourself a nice, reliable truck. I don't know what kind of truck he had because he was cutting in and out. So
yeah, it's kind of hard to hear.
Yeah. But that's kind of what I all have to say.
Yep. Real quick,
and you have to get the kind of driver that's willing to do the oil field stuff, the training up, getting all the tickets, and I have all of them. Oil field is not.
It's not easy work.
It's not at all similar to OTR.
No, it's totally different. Let me pay notice to this. Griff USMC says, be early and call to see if you can deliver early. Go ahead of your time. Some places at first come, first serve, which basically, good point. I want to just offer my last, this is last talking point I have on this. Provide value. I mean, if you just get behind the wheel and you just quote do the job, like I said earlier, you're less likely to get any contracts or any extra business because it's all about the extra business. You can do just so much during the week and you do so many miles, but if you win over contracts with people, by all means, get it, because the less you have to deal with people outside that put their hands in the pot, then fine. So if you're providing value and you're actually winning people, whether it's the brokers that you're dealing with or the shippers directly, you're more likely to get that business. So that's my last thought on that. Griff, good point. I'm glad you made mention of that. Any more thoughts before? Yeah, and before. Go ahead.
Yeah, I forgot to add something. You guys were just talking about $1 million or $1 million mile trucks and all that stuff.
Right.
The truck I'm in currently has 1.8 million miles on it, and this year was a bad year. I will admit it. I went through 4 rear ends. I went through transmission and 2 engines in this truck. While I was chasing the engine issue, I was chasing an issue that we found out was prior to the rebuild, or it was right after the rebuild, and we could never figure out what it was until it got opened up again. The transmission, well, I mean, it's got almost 2 million miles on it, so they're going to go out. And then the same as rear ends. Somebody, before I got into this truck, I had another driver in it, and I guess he was trying to get revenge on me and flipped a bunch of airlines around. We drove around, probably put about 50,000 miles on the truck with the diffs locked. That ain't good.
Wow. No, that
You
ain't.
know, that
Very
that was
costly.
it was very costly, but
Very
that was
costly.
something that wasn't my fault. We thought the diff was unlocked, and then for some reason the diff temperature skyrocketed, and we tore into it.
Yeah.
And here they were switching airlines around.
Right.
So
Never a good thing. Never a good thing at all. All right. Well, we're going to move on to the second topic of the evening. So let's talk about foreign workers in trucking. The impact of high turnover. It's no surprise that turnover rates in trucking have been hovering around an eye-popping 90% for years. Before anyone starts pointing fingers at the pandemic, let's get one thing straight. The numbers were high long before the pandemic. But now we've got companies like Trius Trucking in an article featured in the description claiming that the pandemic-induced turnover is the reason they need to hire foreign drivers. Okay, hold on a second here. Are we really going to let the pandemic become one of those scapegoat-style crutch things? No. The reality is turnover in trucking isn't just a statistic. It's a problem, and it's been plaguing us for a long time. But the question I want to ask in this opinion, and I want to get from you in the audience is there truly a solution? Because here's what this article goes on to say. This particular company, Trius Transportation, filed applications with the Department of Labor to get a waiver to be able to hire foreign workers. They have to put in an application for what's called an H-2B visa. They tried justifying, using this pandemic argument, the need to hire up to 124 foreign workers. Now, I don't know how many company drivers work at this company. I didn't look into all that. Okay. But really, well, what's the purpose there? Well, we can get into what that is, but here's my thing. Trucking industry is frustrated, and I get it. I understand. Because we're in a day and time now where everybody likes to say retention, retention, retention. But do we really know what that is? And do we really know what it means? Why are drivers leaving such high numbers? And what can we do to keep them from walking out the door? That's what I want to focus the rest of tonight's discussion on. It's not about simply throwing more money at the problem. The solution lies in treating drivers like professionals, offering them competitive pay, decent benefits, and respect. Truckers' life isn't easy. They're away from home, weeks at a time, hauling heavy loads. Some are, some longer, some shorter. And they're dealing with everything from traffic jams to weather conditions. You don't just jump into trucking today thinking it's going to be a great win tomorrow. It's not just about pay and conditions either. Safety is another factor. Experienced drivers leave because they're being put in unsafe situations or expected to do things that put them at risk. Well-maintained rigs, smarter scheduling, all of these things are ways in which we can help improve the industry, and I'm all for it. And before midlife pipes up, no, I don't want more regulations. So let's talk about really the long-term benefits of what you might see tomorrow in trucking if we stop today and actually have a discussion about how best to tackle the issue of driver retention. What would make, in anyone's best idea, what would make a company decide to hire foreign workers as opposed to somebody maybe in their town or from a pool of people like me and yourself. So let's talk about that. Anybody currently on this panel have any thoughts? I'd like to hear it.
You really won't like mine.
I never do, midlife. So what else is new?
Flat out, I'd hire the foreign workers 9 out of 10 times. America's truck drivers today are weak. They're entitled. They think they're special. They're not. You're not out here driving a truck because you're wearing a white hat and you're a paladin and you want to move cargo to make people's lives better. You're out here because you want to make money. And you never feel like you're making enough money. Don't worry.
I hear what you're saying.
Werner is operating at a loss. That Heartland is operating at a loss. That Knight Swift are operating at a loss. Walk in there and say, I want more, I want more, I want more. The reason everybody's leaving is because they're not paid enough. Bullshit. It's what makes the driver. The drivers are weak, and they're weak and entitled.
Okay. Now that you've gotten your yelling done, let me ask you a question. Seriously. What makes you of the opinion that drivers today are, just as you explained, weak? What makes you say that?
Because all they do is whine. Go on any Facebook group. Pay me more. Give me more time off. Give me this. Did they do no research before they got into the industry? Did they choose their carrier well? No. They heard they heard what the CPM was, and they went running down the street. They go to Heartstock because two clowns get on there and say how much money they're making, and they're making mediocre money. And yet everybody goes and runs for it.
So are you of the opinion
Turn the volume down just a tiny bit?
Are you of the opinion that that's the culprit behind turnover?
The problem with turnover is the drivers are weak and entitled. If you go back 20 years ago, they didn't have cell phones to communicate with their families. They were calling home from pay phones. They got home once every couple of months. I have never spent more than 3 to 4 weeks on the road since I've been out here.
Okay. We have a caller on the line. I'm assuming because he's called once in the show already, he's got a challenge for you, midlife. So, Griff, what do you say?
I'm having a midlife crisis right now, and he's full of fucking shit.
Okay, let's have it. Let's have.
I'm sorry, but
No.
I'm out here as an old operator trying to make fucking money and stuff, and he's going on. He's rather hire somebody from fucking India that can't speak a goddamn lick of English and everything. And he's a fucking translator and shit. Fucking fate has somebody fucking running into this fucking truck. He didn't even know how to fucking speak English.
Okay.
And he's over here fucking running his goddamn mouth and shit about hiring a fucking foreigner.
Okay.
Sorry, but you're a very smart man. I respect you on what you go on about something. You are very smart about the goddamn business. But this shit is fucking bullshit. It's like an argument with goddamn fucking electric trucks.
All right. Griff. Griff.
I'm sorry.
All right. Griff. I will entertain all day long everybody's opinion, and yours will be included. But I do have to ask that we strike out some of the F words because we're trying to keep this monetizable.
I'm sorry, but he set me off. And I'm sorry, this midlife stuff, everything. I do respect you. You know a lot about the business, and you do give a lot of good knowledge.
Now that that's
that just really set me off.
Okay, now that that's done, now that we've got that out of the way,
You're laughing. I'm sorry though.
I want to have for the time left, I want to have an intelligent conversation about why you two are so diverse in your opinions. We've already heard midlife. We've heard you go off. Now, let's figure out what's really going on here. The crux of the story that I started out with was over Trias Transportation deciding to fill out an application to hire 124 foreign nationals to drive a truck. Now, at the core of that, the story also notated that their application for these H-2B visas were declined. Reasons for the declination were the citing. They incorrectly proved or insufficiently proved that they had a basis for the argument that the pandemic was the reason for their problem. Number two reason was that they didn't do it within the correct filing time. All that being said, it brings to light the issue. Is it necessary to really keep the crutch on the pandemic, creating your problem, and then using that to skirt the system to hire when people, as much as I love you, midlife, you make a good point, but not everybody in the country falls under the classification of weak. There are some people out here that honestly do want to work, and they need a job before the foreigners do. Go ahead, Faye. You got your hand up.
Okay. I kind of agree with mute your mic, poet.
I got it. Go ahead.
I agree with what Griff says, but I also agree with what midlife says. And midlife isn't wrong.
No.
Like
to a large degree, he's very correct. He's very right. Yeah.
But Griff is right too. But
Exactly.
here is the issue. Here is the issue.
Right.
There are people that are trying to obtain their CDL license is diminishing. This is not a career field that people want to get into. Just like farming. Okay?
Right.
Farming, a lot of farming is done by immigrant workers. You know what I mean? It's do I think it's right? Yes and no. Like that's such a weird topic. Because Griff is right. I'm not lazy. If midlife ever called me lazy, I would have the same words that Griff had. You know what I mean? But he's also not wrong. No. All you have to do is go turn on YouTube, and he made a point about people making videos and acting crazy about these lease purchases, and please understand that these people are not making money in trucking. They're making money in the referrals that for some reason people are signing up for these jobs. You know what I mean? So
they're not being
midlife,
given the full story. So he's right in that what he said about they're not doing the research because they're just taking blindly what
right.
They're just taking blindly what they see, and they're not accepting the reality of what's in front of them. And when you don't do research and you wind up putting yourself in that position, you really owe it to yourself. You do it to yourself.
And I'm gonna make one more comment here, and then I'll shut up. Because I talk to a lot of drivers. I talk to company drivers. I talk to owner operators. Right.
Sure.
Very seldom do I hear these people tell me, "Man, I'm making good money. I'm getting paid, quote what I'm worth." I don't hear that very often. To be honest with you, I never hear it. I never hear it. And that's one thing I can hang my hat on with my YouTube channel is you've never heard me complain about the money I make because I make good freaking money. Bottom line.
Amen to that. I mean, I've never ever heard you say a negative word about money, but you also strike me as somebody who's capable of doing that which midlife says nobody does, which is research, and you think things through. So, Grumpy, you got something to add to this? By all means, go ahead, my friend.
All right, I'll start off right now. I'll say, midlife, you're all new to this game. I'm sorry. Yes, there are a lot of foreign drivers out there that could be potential good drivers, and I have stumbled across quite a few of them. But let me tell you, all Americans are not the same. As you were saying, we're not all lazy drivers. I work for a lot less than what I'm worth.
Didn't say you were a lazy driver. Said they're too lazy to do the research to find the good jobs.
Okay. There's not all blocks of cheese out there for people to eat that they like. Okay. So, with that being said, we'll say this. I'm working currently for a company that I don't make very much money. Half the time I'm broke down, but I'm getting good enough with the company that they're seeing this and they're getting things fixed. Small carrier, yes, but they take care of me no matter what. And I'm happy to work for them. I went back to them because of that reason. Things have improved quite a bit since I've been back. I'd like to say it's all me pushing that issue, but I can't say that. But with that being said, yes, we have a lot of foreigners out here now, but there are a lot of regular Americans that were born here that don't belong behind the seat of a truck. They just the wheel. They look at it and they're like, "Huh? Oh, there's that. I turn it on. I start driving it." They're going to have an accident because they don't get trained properly. And like I say, a company that says that the pandemic had an effect on that, phooey. I don't believe that. No.
No, I agree. Sometimes it doesn't come out right, but everybody on this show has got passionate opinions, and I respect each and every one of them. I'll tell you, I bring this up because you know what? I personally feel like more should be done to address the root problem that started the need for the article to begin with. All right? Everybody's quick to point out, like you do, Midlife, like Griff here on the phone, like everybody here on the panel, the problem exists. And everybody's got a reason why. But I have yet to hear anybody offer a solution. So, Thumper, what would you say would be the first thing to come to mind as a possible solution that could lift up those looking to get into the industry, those that currently work in the industry, and solve this problem once and for all?
I'm kind of all over the place. I agree with Midlife. I agree with Fate. I agree with Griff. I agree with Grumpy. But to fix this problem, I don't have an answer for you. I'm going to be completely honest. I do not have an answer.
Everybody else seems to have that same response, but continue.
But I'm going to point some stuff out because everybody's immigrants this, immigrants that. And I'm sure the rest of the panel are going to yell at me, but I'm going to take it back to when the country was developed back in 1776. We're all immigrants. All right, that is the base foundation of the United States. You want to fight me on it? Go to the history books. All right, if you come over here, if you come over to this country, do what you need to do to get your citizenship or your green card, whatever. If you're doing it legally, I'm okay with it. But if you're going to come over here and just take money from us and not do it legally, that's what we need to fix. And if these companies...
There's a political show somewhere that can take that topic up. I do agree with what you said, but, that's really the core of the problem. And they're not looking to ship people over on planes.
If these companies need to go over to the different country to get these people their green cards, because I'm not saying every driver, there's a lot of drivers out there that have a stick up their ass, pardon my language, and think that, I deserve this, I deserve that. No, Fate over here owns his own company. He never complains. Midlife, he's doing pretty good for himself. Larry is doing good for himself. We're all doing good for ourselves. I try not to complain what I have. I make decent money to keep my trucks on the road, pay my drivers, and keep my business going. That makes me happy.
That's the important thing. Go ahead, Fate.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Larry.
No, it was Griff was piping up. Go ahead, Griff.
I was just going to say stuff. One simple solution is have it where they can at least speak and communicate in English and read it.
Well, the law says that they have to, but they've found loopholes and workarounds. Yeah, no, they found loopholes and workarounds, because of this whole Google Translate and everything else. So it's ridiculous.
Yeah, but they should be able to communicate and read the sign, the road signs and stuff and everything. Oh yeah. Going down the highway.
Yeah. So,
one of the take the smartphone and go to the road sign and take a picture of it. Say what it says. You're doing 65 miles an hour down the road.
Bang! You crashed. You're dead. Anyway. But no, one of the things I wanted to touch on, and we keep talking around the issue left, right, and sideways, is, I mean, honestly, the retention issue is there. Everybody says there's multiple reasons, but no one has a solution. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. We need people working, legally. We need people speaking English. All these things you guys mentioned, it's all fine and good. But when is the industry itself going to wake up and say, look, there's a way in which I can hold on to all 10 of my drivers?
But you said there's no driver shortage.
I never said anything about a driver shortage in this
We've all-
conversation.
we've
Never
had
said that.
on here where everybody said there's no driver shortage. It's a lie. There's no driver shortage. So if there's no driver shortage, then how can retention be the problem?
And you're talking around
there's no driver shortage. There's a skill shortage.
Thank you.
Well,
Go ahead,
if
Greg.
I can put my 2 cents in real quick.
Go ahead, certainly.
If we can get the cost, heck, I had to get a heater hose fixed. It cost me $100 for the hose, but it cost me $165 for them to put it on.
Yeah.
If they can get the shop fees down and the cost of parts and everything in general down, that would help a lot. Stuff on retention for drivers that are trying to make a living as either owner operators or even keeping companies going.
Yeah.
Truck,
The
big
mechanics are making too much money.
Hold on, guys.
if it was cheaper on keeping the maintenance up on it.
Right. Well, maintenance happens to be a big problem with a lot of the owner operators. Fate, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I want to say something. I just don't want to piss people off. Listen,
You're on the wrong show for that, pal.
Go ahead.
We can't.
Cut me off.
No.
I've shared this before, right? Like, I'm part owner of another business as well, right? And I've also shared that, maybe not here, but on my channel, my brother owns a concrete company.
Right.
If you think for a minute that being an owner operator, one truck, one trailer is expensive, you probably shouldn't be in business. And I'm not trying to be rude or mean. Our expenses are minuscule compared to the other business that I'm part owner in. And like, we're talking 6-figure difference in the operating costs of my brother's business. It's expensive for us because a lot of us get into this with not much backing behind us. So the minute we get that big $15,000, $20,000 expense, it hurts us, because it not only hurts our business, it hurts our pocketbook that we're supposed to be providing for our family. Now, I'm not saying everything's great in trucking and you're going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is this whole retention thing. Like, you talk about a solution to a problem. The problem is the only people that want to do this job are the ones that don't live here. Like, that's the reality that we're living in. People don't want to be truck drivers.
Which I find really odd, in that you would expect that of, like, agricultural. Yeah, go ahead, John.
He's frozen.
Yeah, I saw that. Poet, real quick, while he unfreezes. Go ahead.
I'm
There
sorry.
he is. He's unfrozen.
I'm sorry. My signal is really bad tonight, so I apologize if I'm messing up the show.
No, you're good. You're good.
But I have to say I disagree with what Bate just said. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, we can. We can hear you.
We can hear you.
We can hear you, John. Go ahead. We can hear you, John.
He doesn't think we can.
Okay. All right. Well, he's fixing that. Poet, did you want to add something?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't agree with you, Fate. I've been doing this for 54 plus years, and I do it. So, yeah, we're not the only ones that want to keep doing it, but we get undercut by imports.
That's not true. That's not true. That is
It
not
yeah,
a true
I don't agree with
statement.
that either, Poet.
Point. That might be
I don't
true on
agree
the
with
stock
that either.
market. That is not a true statement. No, it is not. That is not a true statement because the companies that I haul freight for wouldn't put it on a different truck.
I'm gonna
I believe.
ask everybody. I gotta ask everybody. Hang on one moment, Griff. I want to give you a good greeting and send you off, my friend. Let you watch the show from the background. I appreciate you calling in with your
I just want to say one thing real quick, if I can say just
Go ahead.
one
Go
last
ahead.
thing. I agree with Faith. Faith put himself in a very good position.
Uh-huh.
Myself, I'm just looking at it from where I had an opportunity to get a truck, and I really wish I was smart enough to have more money set back stuff to where I can have that rainy day. But I'm doing a uphill climb. I'm making money. I'm in the black still a little bit. But if something happens, I'm up a S Creek without a paddle.
We're all
But
given.
I agree
We're
with
all
Faith
given.
exactly on that.
We're all given the ability to learn, and that's what we're going through. So, Godspeed. I'm glad you called in. Every single time you have an opinion, you give us a call. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank
Can
you,
I?
guys. All right, so be safe.
All right. God bless.
All right. Thank you.
Can I finish my thought?
Go ahead, John. Go ahead and finish your thought.
I'm not saying everything he said was wrong. A lot of what he said was 100% correct. But as for people in our country that don't want to be truckers, I don't agree with that. I think the problem is when they do come in, they're trained improperly. They get frustrated and they leave. That is a bigger issue than people here don't want to do it. Okay, then why am I a trucker? I'm new to trucking in the last 6-7 years.
John, statistics don't lie. Numbers don't lie. The amount of
what's the
people going out
statistic?
to get hold on. The amount of people going out to get their CDL license has diminished over the last 20 years, where it climbed for like 30 years.
Well, let's discuss what.
The only real outliers that exist in the statistics you mentioned, Fate, are the pandemic. There was spikes before and after, but it really doesn't. It doesn't. In my mind,
I don't doubt what he's saying.
More people are going to college than they did 30 years ago, right?
Oh, that's true.
So there's more people getting into technology jobs at entry-level jobs that pay very well. Like this industry is in the decline, not in a bad way, but just in a decline for the people that want to do it. Just like farming. You don't.
So So are you denying that part of the problem is when you get willing people that want to do the job, they're not trained properly, they get frustrated and they leave? Sorry, are you telling me that
that's a problem? That's a problem. That's a huge
and you
problem.
don't pick the place they got trained at? Did they investigate the place they got trained at?
Here, hold on.
Say it again.
Like you're right. But John, what he's saying is, why would a company go overseas to bring somebody in? The reason a company has to go overseas is the applicants aren't there. They're not. If they need 150 drivers, they don't have 150 applicants. I can bring a guy on my live show that I brought on the other day that owns a trucking company. He gets people that apply to the job. When he responds to them to hire them, they never call him back. They don't. They don't follow through. I'm leased on to a guy that happens to every single day.
Right.
I agree. I understand the guy, same guy, but was just telling me a recent story like that. But yes, there are those examples, and we can get into that if you'd like to. But in reality, I'm kind of a new trucker, 7 years. I think midlife's pretty new in here. I mean, there are a lot of guys that do want to do trucking, and if you're trained properly, or if you're older like we are, and we're willing to dedicate ourselves to it, you can become a good driver. The problem is they're not teaching people to be good drivers.
Hey, John.
I never said they were.
No, they're not.
John, the problem is that is on the driver. The driver not being trained properly is on the driver. They did not research where they went to get the training. They chose the easy route. They didn't bother with it. They want to go straight in and make the big money and be a lease operator, owner operator in a matter of a year.
Hold up.
Hold up.
I'm not putting
Poet,
blame on it. Oh.
And how would they know that living in India or Pakistan or any of the other places we get ours from?
We're not referring to overseas people, Paul. We're referring to the people here.
Well, I
Okay,
think he,
fine.
I think the point he's making is whether they're foreign nationals, foreign people in other countries, you know, the idea that we hire from inside is, I think, the idea he's trying to convey. You know, because again, remember, this entire story started from people having a bitch fest. Basically, Trias Transportation had a bitch fest because they had their application turned down. They wanted to hire a majority of their hires from out of the country and not.
Yep.
Yeah, but correct me if I'm wrong. That was temporary work. That wasn't full-time work.
Oh no.
That was the problem. That was the problem that was the problem they ran into. They didn't supply proof that that was what they were doing. And that's why the permit was declined.
Right, but they applied for a temporary permit, not a full-time permit. Those people were not coming for full-time.
Using full-time statistics is what they
Canada.
did.
Right.
In Canada.
Go ahead, Poet.
In Canada, okay,
Yep.
they are having people come in. They get their jobs through their temples, okay, because their temples own the trucks, okay,
Right.
and they put 6 drivers into a truck.
Okay, I knew you were going to go there, and
but
your country, unfortunately, don't mistake what I'm about to say, Poet, but your country is a freaking train wreck when it comes to individuals from other countries. Your country's a train wreck. Trudeau has treated that entire industry like a freaking paper mill, and seriously, he's got a stack a mile high. I've seen the videos. I know exactly what he's doing, and I don't agree with it at all. So what you're saying, I agree with. But I don't agree with the way your country does it. So that's all I'm going to say there.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree 100%.
Right.
Which is why in the beginning of this, I was going to say because I'm going to sound racist.
Well, no, we're not going to do that on this show. I will say this. It all boils down to the crux of the argument, okay? The argument I made at the start of this, which is how in the hell are we going to get past this issue of retention being the issue that it is and stop the need? That's where I started the conversation, and I have yet to hear anything from anybody other than Griff. Thumper, what do you got to add?
Back to the whole, I really don't know how to answer your question, honestly.
Yeah,
but there was some
at one time. This industry was touted by media, by people, as an industry to be proud of. And when you watch social media in general, and I try not to, I really don't, because I don't like getting depressed. But there are a lot of people out there on social media that just dog the very things we're talking about. Now, on that, don't jump me yet. Just chill out. On that, though, I'm starting to see a turnaround. I'm starting to see people that are starting to put out more and more positive videos from a business perspective. They're saying a lot of sensible things, and they're coming up here and saying things like Fate is on their own channels, which I get and I respect totally. But it goes back to the argument I started to make a moment ago. Nowadays, more people feel oppressed in the industry than used to in the days of old. There's a far difference between what people say versus the reality, and that needs to change. Whether it's true or not, I'm not debating on the show. I just notice it's out there. And that's where I think a large part of the problem is. Retention starts with an image. Your competence starts with an image. Your reputation starts with an image. If you take it in a direction that's not healthy, you're not going to be healthy. And that's the point of my opinion. I think I hope I eloquently stated.
I
Go ahead,
appreciate what you're saying, and I'm sorry my internet sucks tonight, but I
know.
totally missed the question.
The core question being, what can we do to return the image and the functionality of this industry back to the way it was in the old days, eliminating the retention issue?
Well, that's not going to happen. I'm not honestly. I was just having this discussion with somebody earlier today, and I think it was Fate, but I'm not sure. Trucking's different every year, every couple of years, every cycle. You know, like here's an example. Midlife was, I think he's 2 or 3 years behind me in experience, but trucking when he came into it was totally different than trucking when I came into it. Now take in Fate or Grumpy that's been in it for 25 years. It's a world of difference. It's not. There's no way we're ever getting back to quote unquote the brotherhood of trucking where we all look at each other like brothers and we look at that's not going to exist. As much as it saddens me to say it, it's not going to happen. The reason why is trucking has changed too much. And part of it I understand because owner operators like myself or Fate, Thumper, Thumper is a business owner, but I mean a carrier. But my point is you're out looking out for yourself, which you should be. So that's going to automatically change the whole brotherhood thing. That's what killed it right there.
Right. And all I'm looking to do by tonight's conversation is get everybody thinking. I mean, aside from the obvious arguments we had earlier and the challenges in this panel, which I welcome, by the way, that's all I want to do. I mean, you know what? Really, the industry can be made whole and it can work. It's just up to each individual. And I think a lot can be said for what people publicly put out there. And I hope it's improving. And I hope, all obvious things aside, the next 4 years, we see an improvement. But we shall see. Go ahead, Faye.
So, this is going to be weird to say. You know, like you say, you hope people put things better out there on social media, right?
Yeah, I do.
Social media is a business.
True.
Okay.
It is.
You give the people what they want.
Yeah.
If everybody's complaining about trucking, if you put a video out about complaining about trucking, you're going to get views. If you put a video out about trucking is good, you don't get views. Ask me how I know this. Because it's what I do.
The old
I can give you another
media I posed a long time ago. Violence sells, sex sells, bad stuff sells. You know, yeah.
Guys, I'm going to back up what he said because I agree with him this much. If I posted a bunch of shorts that were just people driving around and down the road and nothing ever happened, no one would watch my channel. The reason why I get views is because people mess up. It's chaos. It's crap. It's messy. That's what people want to see. So I agree 100% with what Paige Truckin's saying.
People watch my show because of the news content. There's never anything good on the stuff I report. So I get what you guys are saying. But a lot can be said for trying to help improve an industry we work in. How do you do that? You don't do that by putting out negative content all the time. So
no, you know how you do that?
How do you do that?
You know how you do that? By having conversations with people. By Griff calling me. Me calling
being
7Cs.
You being on the show. Exactly.
Me reaching out to Midlife about, so I've learned a lot about what Midlife does and how different it is from what I do, but how intriguing at the same time what he does is to me. Do you understand what I'm saying here? That's how you make the industry better. We're not going to make it overnight better. You have to start with the individual. You know what I mean? The person or people you talk to.
Exactly. Grumpy, the amount of people you have at your company, I assume you don't have really a whole lot of drivers. I'll get to them in a minute. I'm assuming you're not talking about a whole lot of drivers there, but I mean, is retention a big issue at your company?
Well, I've seen quite a few come and go, yes. And the biggest reason is they're expecting more money, and that's the biggest problem. Like I said, I do this basically anymore for a hobby, just to make enough to live off of. I don't have a whole lot of bills and overhead, so it's just a hobby to me anymore, and I enjoy it. Now, others, that's their bread and butter. They've got to make the money. If they can't make the money, they're going to go somewhere else. Someone with my experience, just like with Larry, just like with Fate. If Fate was to be a company driver, what I make is not worth it. We should be making a lot more. And I'm not sitting here harping up a tree. I'm just saying what we're actually worth with all the years' experience, good backgrounds, history, and all that. Yeah, we're worth a little bit more. But with the rates, with everything going, it's hard to pay a man that, because the company's got to stay in business too, because they've got a lot of payout. So yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. Larry, did you have something to add? You were being pointed at a minute ago.
I'm good. Sorry.
Oh, okay. What about you, Thumper?
Can I?
Oh, go ahead, John. Go ahead.
I was going to say, can I throw in my 2 cents about the pay thing? I'm kind of old school this way, as the way I was raised, is the way my dad taught me to think. But it's the thing that's missing in this world, I think. You work to the level you want to be paid, and then eventually you get paid that. You don't get paid that first and then work up to that level. And that's part of the problem. That's part of the problem with our industry too. You got new guys coming in expecting to make 20-year guy money. And that's just not how it works. You got to serve your time and earn your way up there. Now there are distinct things that I don't want to say there are anomalies of that. I mean, I'll use Midlife Trucker, for example. Did his research, went to the jobs that suited him the best, and now he's making great money as a newer driver. That's because he did a lot of research. He put a lot of time into it. That's not going to happen unless you do those things.
Very true. Very true. Poet, what you got to add?
It's called the self-titled thoughts that are going around in our lifetime.
By that, what do you
Everybody
mean?
everybody wants to get paid like the CEO because they're self-entitled, not willing to put in the work.
Yeah.
Because they're self-entitled.
Yeah.
Turn down your volume, Poet.
Yeah, I think we got a little bit of an echo thing going on there, but Poet, I do get your point and totally understand what you're saying. People really do need to change the value they expect, because you know what? To Midlife's point earlier, you get what you give. If you don't research, you don't get much. Go ahead, Faye.
Okay. Everybody that starts driving for a company, Thumper can probably talk on this. Let's say I want to go work for Thumper. I'm assuming I have to have an interview, right? Thumper,
Right.
do I have to have an interview with you if I want to come and work for you?
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I'll sit and talk to you on the phone for like 3 days to make sure that you're fit for the job.
Okay, and in the process of talking to me, you're going to explain what the job is, correct?
Correct.
And you're going to explain what the pay is, correct?
Yep.
Okay, if I take that job, why the hell am I going to bitch about pay? This is nonsense, people. This is nonsense. There is not a truck driver out there that hasn't signed on the dotted line and known, whether you're a lease purchase guy, an owner operator, or whatever you are, you know how much money you're going to make based on the conversations you've had, and you know the tasks that they're going to want you to do. Now, that doesn't mean some companies cheat the system and all that. I get that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
There
it's
are those out
100%
there.
absolute, but I guarantee you, every job I've had in trucking over my 24-year or 25-year career, which is only 4, I knew what I was going to get paid.
Exactly. Sounds like we
difference
have
is-
us. It sounds like we have us a record on file here. By the sounds of what you just said, Fate, you and Midlife actually agree. People know what they're getting into, and if they just do the research, they'll find out in advance they made the mistake.
Can I say
The
one
problem,
about-
though.
Go ahead, John.
Sorry. The problem with that, though, is we live in a victim mentality world where you sign a paper saying you're okay with it. 10 minutes later, you complain about it because that's the society we live in. And I hate to open up that can of worms right now, but it's a societal issue, and it's not just a trucking issue. People all the time agree to things they shouldn't agree to and then complain about it later. And I agree with you guys, by the way. It is on them, but it is a societal issue where people just whine and moan about stuff when they agreed to it.
Yep. Last thought, Fate, go ahead.
Yeah, last thought. Sorry. Everybody has the same opportunities that I have. Everybody has the same opportunities as Midlife has. You just have to do the work to get it.
Yep. I agree with that. Very well said, Fate. Thumper, when it comes down to being better, we got to do more. People got to start looking before they jump and basically thinking it through. Don't you agree?
Exactly. You are 100% right on that one. Do your research, and if you have a question, don't be afraid to ask. There is no such thing as a stupid question, just only stupid answers because you don't ask the question. So, yep. I mean, we had a pretty good show, hour and a half long. We were kind of all over the board. I mean, I think we aired out a lot of stuff. I know I enjoyed it. I had my feathers ruffled a few times, but it was an awesome show.
Nature of the beast, man.
Yeah, well, nature of the beast. God bless everybody in the armed forces, firefighters, EMTs. God bless everybody in the whole world because we're finding out our show's getting everywhere now. And just remember, we don't do it just for us and our family. We do it for you guys.
Amen to that. Tell you one thing, guys. This is an ever-changing landscape. Trucking is never the same every day. But one thing that is true is trucks that make the delivery. It's you that makes the difference. Keep looking for us Saturdays and Wednesdays, 7 o'clock. Till then, by all means, you keep the faith, and we will keep it rolling.